Alright guys, so I'm usually not one to ramble on about the stuff I make to say what's right and what's wrong. It's important for some things to be fuzzy enough for everyone to get their own interpretation with it and to relate to it and all that junk that you're forced to analyze in English class. Well, I believe that in some cases, interpretation doesn't matter because no matter what you choose to believe, there's only one way that it's actually written, so yeah. After seeing episode 4, I'm sure a lot of you have similar reactions. What the hell, Neon? I thought Hurricane was going to be important. You made her seem important. She was in there for not even a full episode, really. Well, I completely understand why all of you people are probably confused this way, but that's exactly why I'm making this video, to clear some stuff up a bit. So, for starters, before episode 4 was released, I was very careful when animating or drawing Hurricane in any way whatsoever. Whether it was for an MAP part, a PMV part, whatever. I solely used scenes that I knew were going to be in the episode to avoid this whole, I thought this was going to be a thing sort of thing. And yeah, I kind of pushed the envelope with the fire breather video, but honestly, I still chose to depict and animate a moment that actually happened to avoid any arguments about Cocane later on. Luckily, I haven't got any negative comments about it really, so that's good, but I'm still just going to continue doing this because I feel that it's necessary, so yeah, just let me talk, I guess. Now your next question is probably somewhere along the lines of, wait, does that mean Cobalt didn't even like Hurricane? And the answer is no. Undoubtedly, he did, but for Cobalt, it was more of a significant event in his life than another cheesy romance. I tried to express it a bit before in the last Q&A, but Blood Brothers is not a romantic love story. The series itself focuses on the platonic brotherly bond between Cobalt and Aiden, and as the writer, I feel that I have the choice to not feel obligated to include romance just because it's become mainstream. I mean, how many of you have seen a movie that probably shouldn't even include a romance if you think about it, but it's in there anyways? Yeah, I'm sure you're thinking of one right now, and if not, just think a little bit harder. Yeah, okay. Well, that doesn't mean that Cobalt and Hurricane didn't care for each other, but Hurricane in general was more of a different experience for Cobalt altogether. I mean, throughout their entire lives, Cobalt and Aiden, even before their mother was gone, never really interacted with any other dogs except their immediate family members. After the passing of their mom from tuberculosis, I might add, in case anyone is curious or still doesn't know, I try to put it on a bunch of things, but I know information is sometimes hard to get to everybody, so yeah. This lack of socializing with other wolves is still present, if not reinforced. Trusting anyone that's not his mom or Aiden is a completely alien concept for Cobalt, and if it wasn't implied by Cobalt and Hurricane's dialogue in the episode, Hurricane actually manages to get through to him a little bit. So here we have Cobalt, this teenage dog that's never been exposed to any other social interaction, including trust, and then Hurricane actually manages to fix his corruptive views on the world and convince him, hey, it's alright to be upset, I can help you. And like I mentioned before, they may not have been in love at the time. I'm not one for the whole love at first sight Romeo and Juliet crap, and no offense if you really are, but it doesn't take love to impact someone when Hurricane, non-romantically, had such a significant impact on Cobalt alone. All his life, he believed not to trust, and here was this dog who showed him, hey, it's okay to trust, and it's okay to talk about it, and how is he rewarded for being introduced to this? He finds Hurricane slaughtered on the ground after he promised to return for her. It doesn't take someone to be in love for that to hurt. Cobalt will definitely retaliate from that, and what I view as appropriate. I don't want to get too into that, because that's episode 5, and spoilers, we should keep to a minimum for now. But if you watch episode 4's intro, a few things will probably make a bit more sense if you use your brains. Or I'm just really terrible at depicting information and whatever. So, to top it all off, I am not saying that Cocane isn't in some way, shape, or form a romantic thing. In fact, as the writer of this series, I feel it's safe to say that if she didn't die, yeah, Hurricane might have ended up with Cobalt. It would have taken some time for Cobalt to be open enough for a relationship. Hurricane, being Hurricane, would have eventually gotten through to him. Yeah, I think it could have developed into love with more time, but based on the way I stand and my own views on life, undoubtedly, Cobalt and Hurricane were not in love with each other. I'm sure a few of you are still on the other side of the screen like, that's it? That was your big attempt at a love story? And the answer is still no. It wasn't a love story. If I was going to write a love story, I could hopefully do it better than that in 14 minutes. But I felt it was done in a way that seemed appropriate, but then again, that's up for argument too, so you know. Alright guys, so I just felt that it was important to express my motives behind the entire thing, and I hope that this was at least not totally boring, and if it was, I'm sorry, but you know, what are you gonna do? Alright, see you guys.